Thank you all for tuning back in on the record with Coach Payne. Thank you so much for listening and providing me with your comments. It's time, y'all. Last year marked 20 years working at LACC. As a gift to myself, I took a trip to Scottsdale and Flagstaff, Arizona, so I could visit the Grand Canyon. Just a few days before I was about to head out of town, I attended a campus networking social for our Mojo students that supports our Black students on campus. As I was making my rounds, talking with students and finding out about their major and where they wanted to transfer, a couple of students shared with me some experiences that I found disturbing, needless to say. A student who is a business major shared with me that a faculty member was using racial commentary in one of their courses. I was not happy with this. I felt bad that they were being subjected to unprofessional and disrespectful behaviors in their learning environment. I took this information and used my time away to process how I was going to proceed when I returned. I love driving to Arizona because of the beautiful landscape along the drive. I finally made it to my destination, the Grand Canyon. The views are just absolutely gorgeous. As I began walking down the Bright Angel Trail, there was a sign of a person vomiting. At that moment, I recall thinking to myself, this is how I felt after working 20 years on the job. Later, I looked more closely at the map that indicated the different grade levels to moderate to difficult by 3 colors. Green, have fun, short distance, less than a mile, 1 to 2 hours. Yellow, be careful, 2 miles, 2 to 4 hours. Red, seek advice, 3 miles to 14 miles, 4 hours to 3 to 4 days. I thought to myself, I wish I had these indicators at the beginning of my career. If you would have told me red, seek advice, perhaps I would have chosen to stay on the industry path. As I was walking down, I'm soaking in the breathtaking views, looking at the birds, looking at the sky, looking just everything, the clouds, the sun, the greenery. It was so beautiful. And then my alarm goes off to remind me that a Zoom session was about to start that I wanted to attend that was called It's Not Drama, It's Trauma. I was amazed that my iPhone 6 with Cricket service had reception in the Grand Canyon. This PD session was so informative because it provided me a new perspective of the challenges that Bother Youth students experience in their developmental years. And recently, my mom reminded me that my Nana was adopted. In this session, I learned how chronic trauma and complex trauma impacts the brain from learning brain to survival brain. It was a really good session because it provided me new perspective on how to provide a more holistic learning environment. I finally made it down to the 1.5 mark, and I finished up my Zoom session. I didn't stay too long. It was kind of getting a little late, so I wanted to work my way back up. The climb was a little bit more challenging due to the elevation. As I'm making my way up, processing the information that was shared and what was shared with me before my trip, it resonates with me that most people of color have experienced some form of trauma navigating through academia. I didn't realize all the turns going down, so when I was coming up, I kept saying, am I there? Am I close? So when I returned back home from my trip, I sought out what actions that I needed to do to kind of shed light on this matter of racial commentary being made in our classrooms. I was told that the student needed to discuss this matter with their instructor, which I found was not right because of the position of power the instructor has over the student's grade. This is common. Students of color do not feel comfortable reporting these behaviors that are often inappropriate and unprofessional because they feel retaliation, fear retaliation. I could relate, which is why it has taken me some time to share my story. This is why the system is problematic, because of the offenders, especially in academia, are allowed to continue their inappropriate, unprofessional behaviors because they are not held accountable. It is time to hold them accountable. This is not right. People of color have been conditioned not to speak up due to fear of retaliation. This is not anything new. This is why I feel it's important for me to share with you all the inappropriate, disrespectful, and unprofessional behaviors that I've endured over my 20 plus years career here at LACC. On top of the microaggressions and micro invalidations that people of color experience in academia. I've held my tongue long enough, which has resulted into some internal, mental, and emotional physical warfare. Now, I mentioned that in the last episode, I was going to take you back 20 years, but I decided that we should start about the halfway point 10 years in. It was May 2012. So 10 years in, I reached my limit. My inside voice was telling me, get out. So hearing that voice, I said, it's time to take a new action on this. So I put a request to transfer to one of our nearby campuses in the district. My interview didn't go well. I was having technical difficulties getting my equipment to connect with their equipment. I had to use the chalkboard on top of that. And then I was given a trick question, which I hadn't seen since my first semester teaching, because majority of my teaching assignments contain arithmetic, pre-algebra, elementary algebra, intermediate algebra type courses. I was like, damn, that's a lot of algebra. But, I learned algebra, I was fortunate, at an early age, and therefore I became, proficient at a faster rate than my students who had to cram a lot of that information in a 15-week period on top of the topic matter is not interesting and not taught in a more engaging manner. But to get back on point, I wanted to mention that not having the opportunity to teach more transferable level courses diminished my skill sets over time. As a result, that ultimately contributed me not transferring to another position. So I had to go back to the place I was trying to escape. I had to dig a little deeper and ask myself why I was escaping in the first place, because now looking back, I did have that feeling occur again 4 years later in the summer of 2016 that we will address at another episode. However, I do realize that now that the culture of my work environment contributing to that of wanting to escape. And the main problem with that is that I just felt that we haven't really done a good job addressing the problems and how to improve our student success and retention rates. And over time, our numbers have not improved, they've gotten worse, especially for our Black, Indigenous, people of color students. Are you okay with that? Well, I'm not. And this is an example of the systemic infrastructure in academia that has been founded on by allowing those in academia positions, such as faculty, to remain in their positions who are not contributing to our primary goal, which is to increase student success and student retention rates so that our students could graduate, transfer, or pursue their educational goal. Well, in math, we call that a contradiction. This is how the system is rigged. Getting back to when I transferred And the fact that I didn't mention this to anyone at work, I was approached in the hallway by a colleague, and they shared with me how they knew individuals at that campus that I transferred to, which alluded that they were hinting that they were aware of my interview. That information, I guess the way the information was shared with me, I questioned what their motive was, and I just found it to be odd. Looking back in spring 2012, I was at a low point in my career, which was not the first, and we'll talk about that in my future episodes. I realized that that low point was in direct result not working in a system that fostered growth for our students and myself, especially the ones that, belong to the BIPOC community. And on top of being subjected to snarky, inappropriate, unprofessional, disrespectful comments for 10 years took its toll, and so in so many ways demoralizing. Yes, the system is to blame. Now is our chance to take action. Are you okay with being subjected to snarky, inappropriate, unprofessional, and disrespectful comments? Human resources fell short ensuring that our classrooms and workspaces promote respect and professionalism. Next time you see something that you feel that is inappropriate, unprofessional, and disrespectful, let's take new action. We can email our chairs, our deans, our VPs, or email speakup@lacitycollege.edu. Or we could take it a step further and you could email me and I will share your story at nynypayne@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, next episode coming March 19th.